Hello, New Mexico, and welcome to this week's edition of Wealthy Living. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, and I'm joined by Shawn Kiehne. He is the founder of Kiehne Wealth Management, based right here in New Mexico, and financial consultant Tyler Kiehne. We've got a great show for you today. The title of this episode is To Contribute or Not to Contribute? That is the question. You're going to want to hang with us to find out what we're talking about today and what it means for you and your retirement. Shawn, Tyler, one of my favorite father-son duos. So good to be in the studio with you. How are you guys this week?
Oh, thank you. It's great to be in the studio with you as well. We always enjoy it, and we're doing great. Busy.
I know you are. And Tyler, things going well with you?
Going great. Couldn't ask for more. Been blessed, and it's just amazing to see the amount of people that we help and getting to work with my dad, putting plans together. It's really just fun. Yeah. It kind of reminds me of, playing football. It's you strategize against the opponent, and you look for ways to improve your game here and there, and okay, adjust your stance this way, put 3 fingers down instead of 4. It'll get you off the line. Just things like that.
Yes.
We're very detail oriented, and I love this space and I love this work. Yeah.
Yes, I know you do. And there's so many great analogies to draw from football. I think we need to do an episode on that in the near future, right?
I think we should.
All right, but back to the subject at hand today. We are calling this show To Contribute or Not to Contribute? That is the question. And this show was inspired by a recent article that came out in Investment News. I want to quote some of that for you to set up today's conversation. So the title of this article said, "Stop contributing to your IRAs and 401ks." And it even started off by saying, stop contributing to your IRAs and 401ks. That has to be a typographical error. After all, traditional retirement planning has always preached maximizing contributions to tax-deferred individual retirement accounts and 401ks to build retirement savings. But the article went on to say that this decades-old strategy no longer works, and therefore it's time for folks to start considering reducing their IRA balances, not increasing them. So let me just stop right there, because this is very controversial, right? For someone to suggest this. Why might someone suggest that you should stop building things like IRAs and 401ks and deferring that tax bill?
It's definitely a kind of shocking statement to say, stop contributing. What do you mean? And I remember when I read the article, it was surprising, but he makes a very good point. And what we need to understand about qualified accounts and qualified plans are that really what they are is just pay taxes later accounts. That's what they are. And you get a deduction today, but down the road, your dollars are taxed even further than they would have been today because they grow more, right? And we'd like to tell people there's 2 accounts growing within your qualified plan, yours and the IRS's. So the more your account grows, the more you owe them. And that's what he's talking about with contributing to these qualified plans. It's like if you talk to your HR department and they say, hey, we're gonna give you this great deal, but we're not gonna tell you what it costs to take your money out. How many people would really sign up and do that?
Yes, and yet that's what so many Americans have been relying on to build their retirement nest egg.
Right.
You mentioned the term qualified plans. The way I like to remember it is if it's a qualified account, that means it's qualified to pay tax on it, meaning you've not paid the tax yet, but that tax bill is coming. They're also known as tax-deferred accounts. So I always like to explain that because I know there's so many,
so much
verbiage, right, in our industry.
That's a great way of explaining it.
Yeah, but here's what's interesting. The guy who wrote this article was Ed Slott. He's known as America's authority on IRAs and 401ks. And I think this is what's really frustrating, which is what he was trying to point out for folks, is because back when these types of accounts were originally created, we were all told that this was a really good thing for us, right? We were told this is great because you can put the money in now, you'll get a tax break the year you make the contribution, and then you can defer that tax bill till later in retirement, and supposedly you should be in a lower tax bracket. So why is this not necessarily a good thing for us?
Well, because most people that we talk to, they're not in a lower tax bracket when they retire because they've got their Social Security. They've got maybe their spouse's Social Security, pensions, things like that.
Required minimum distributions,
right? Yep. So it's kind of a retirement myth that people are in a lower tax bracket once they retire.
Right.
We hardly ever see anyone where that's the case.
Well, I think what's interesting is people don't necessarily want to be in a lower quality of life in retirement.
Exactly.
Right? So they don't want their income to be that far down, right?
Yeah, like we say, we want you to retire from your job, not your lifestyle. That's what we always say to clients. And so we see it every day in our office, Kristen, because we manage, we have hundreds of clients. We manage their IRAs, their 401ks, their tax-deferred accounts. And we get several calls a week of clients, hey, I need to withdraw money, things like this, to buy a car or whatever. And just a couple of weeks ago, a lady called in and she said, hey, I need to withdraw $35,000 to buy my car, a new car. And so I always ask the clients, do you want to withdraw $35,000 or do you want to net $35,000? And she says, well, what do you mean? I said, well, you got to pay taxes on that because it's in your IRA. What do you mean? So to make a long story short, she had to take out $46,000 to net out $35,000 to buy that car.
Right.
She just didn't realize that she would have to pay taxes on that withdrawal. She thought she was just going to be able to take her $35,000 and have a nice day. But Uncle Sam wants his part.
Exactly.
And most people, they just don't realize that, or they don't think about it until it's time to make those withdrawals.
For sure. And this is why I've also heard Ed Slott say that your IRA is an IOU to the IRS, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So talk about, Tyler, a little bit about where we are with tax rates today and why this is compounding the problem of folks not being necessarily in a lower tax bracket once they retire.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand that we're actually in relatively low tax environment right now. There's a story about Ronald Reagan. I know you've heard it before, but before he was a president, he was actually an actor. And so he did Westerns, and he did a Western. I didn't get around to watching it, but it's probably pretty good. Anyway.
Well, it was in 1939, so.
Hey.
A few years before your time. Yes.
Fine wine. Anyway, he got paid $1 million to make this movie. And the government said, okay, 90% of that is ours. So he got taxed on 90% of that million, so he walked away with $100,000.
Wow.
So the point I'm trying to make is that we are in low tax environment right now. If you make $100,000 right now, your tax bracket's right at that 22% federally. In World War II, the top tax rate was 94%.
Yeah.
In the 1970s, it was still 70%. And the point I'm trying to make is that rates change.
Yes.
And right now, thanks to the Secure Act and the extension of the Secure Act through the big, beautiful bill, we are in that lower tax bracket for the foreseeable future.
Right.
There's no sunset date on that. So until Congress rewrites the tax code, we have low tax rates now. And it's just like we always say, better is just better. Why would you want to give up more of your money?
So the trade-off, again, we've been told our whole lives, okay, take advantage of these tax-deferred accounts, put the money in, get the tax break today, kick the tax can down the road, take the money out later, right? You're saying, and that's what the article was saying, we don't know what that rate is going to be down the road. So maybe it's not as beneficial to get the tax break today as it once was, right?
Exactly. I always ask people, where do you think taxes are going to go from here? Up or down? Guess what? I've never had anyone tell me down. Everyone has a feeling, pretty much know, because of our national debt and stuff just hit 37 trillion. And there's something like 37 trillion in tax deferred accounts.
Right,
It's
the government knows
the same
that.
number.
Yes.
And the government knows that. So I can just see those legislatures, the wheels turning. Hey, we need to raise taxes so we can get more out of people's tax deferred accounts because all this money's sitting there.
Right.
So that's why I believe tax rates are going to go up.
Yes. Well, I know we've got a lot more to get into in this discussion of to contribute or not to contribute, and we have some solutions for you too, so don't worry, you're going to want to stick around for that. But just to point out, this is something that really sets you all apart, is the fact that you engage in strategic tax planning for your clients. So if somebody's watching right now and they're going, I haven't thought about it this way before, I'm not aware of this huge tax bill that might be looming in front of me, what would you say to them, and how would you be able to help them if they were to connect through the show today?
Yeah, I would definitely tell them to give us a call, and you can see on the bottom of your screen, we built out a website just for this purpose called KWealthTaxTest.com. You can plug in your numbers there, it takes 2 minutes, and it's going to give you a really good estimate on the amount of taxes that you're going to owe over the next 25 years in retirement. And most people are shocked to see that number, and they, throw their laptop into the swimming pool when they see it, But
it's shocking, right?
It's shocking. So, but prudent people, there's a proverb that says, prudent people see danger and they make plans to avoid it. And that's what we would suggest to people is, hey, these taxes are coming. There's no way to avoid them. We're not saying you can not pay taxes, but there are ways where you can plan to pay less.
Yes. Yep. And no doubt after folks visit KWealthTaxTest.com, they're definitely going to want to come in and sit down with you and have you show them how to potentially reduce that tax bill. So if this is resonating with you at all, we encourage you to reach out to the team of Kiehne Wealth. We know this might be new to you. The good news is it's not new to them, and they would love to be able to help and serve you, but you need to reach out, and you can schedule your time to come in for no cost, no charge, no obligation, and receive your very own complimentary written financial plan. That number to call to schedule yours is 877-697-6236. Or if you'd rather connect online, simply scan that QR code in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, and that will get you connected as well. When we come back, so what is the answer to the question of to contribute or not to contribute? We're going to tackle that and provide some solutions for you right after this.
There's quite a few things that go into a good plan for our clients.
Anywhere in your life, you've used a GPS at some point, right? And you need to know what the destination is, right, in order to get the directions. And the plan is just simply the directions to get there.
So when we're looking at a holistic plan for our clients, it entails quite a few things like income stream. Do you have enough income to last the rest of your life? Taxes. How can we mitigate those taxes, and how can we position your portfolio better to help offset the taxes? We have other things like legacy planning, estate planning services that we offer. So at Kiehne Wealth and Retirement, we've put together a team that truly cares for our clients. Whenever a client calls, someone from the office does our best to call them back within 10 minutes. Just things like that. That's the feedback we get from a lot of clients, is that we're very responsive. We keep in touch with them, and that's something people don't find at a lot of these big box companies. Typically at those companies, you've got new advisors coming on that just graduated from college, and they change and they get promoted every 6 months, and so we hear that a lot. In my eyes, a successful retirement is peace of mind, just knowing how you're positioned, where things are going, and that you have someone on your side to help navigate those.
It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be stressful. It doesn't have to be a mystery or something that you just don't know how to do. It can be very simple.
Welcome back, New Mexico. You're watching Wealthy Living. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, here with Shawn and Tyler from Kiehne Wealth, and we are so glad that you're joining us today. If you're just tuning in, we are having a very important conversation centered around the question to contribute or not to contribute, specifically to your traditional IRAs and traditional 401ks, because of the looming tax bill that so many Americans are unprepared to pay once they hit retirement. And this is so important, guys, because the majority of folks have the bulk of their wealth saved up for retirement in these qualified plans, these tax-deferred plans. And so I know we're going to talk about the solutions, but you mentioned this awesome tool before the break, this great resource that our viewers can actually use for free right now. We're going to put that on the screen there for you. KWealthTaxTest.com. You can get there by going to that site or by clicking that QR code. Tyler, share with our viewers what they're going to see and what they're going to learn from visiting KWealthTaxTest.com.
It's really simple. We're huge about simplicity here at Kiehne Wealth. So what you're going to see is you're just going to input your first name, your last name, your email so that you can get the results, your age, and the amount of money that you have in a 401k, IRA, or in any qualified plan.
Right, any of those tax-deferred accounts, right?
And so you're just going to slide. It's really easy. It's just like a little slider. You're going to put it right at your tax rate. We always say to assume it's a little higher, just because you have to take into account state income tax as well. So if you're in the federal income tax of 22%, maybe round up to around 25, 27%, just to account for the extra state income tax. And it's always better to plan for the worst.
Correct.
So anyway, once you do that, you get your results, and it shows you two different plans. There's the government's plan, and then there's our plan. And so what the government's plan is going to show you is how much you're going to pay in those taxes on that account. Say it was $1 million. It'll show you the taxes on that $1 million for the rest of your life if you left it exactly where it was, if you made no changes.
Right.
That's the government plan section. The next one over to the right of it, it says our plan, and that is a strategic plan that is tailor fit to your needs. And so it looks, and based on the tax rates, it will show you exactly what you would pay in comparison to the government by doing some strategic tax planning today while taxes are low.
Yes, how much less you could pay,
Absolutely.
right, compared to the government's plan.
And it's insane. When you see the numbers, people come in and they are just...
They're floored.
They're floored, and they don't understand. They say, how is this possible? Like, I had $500,000 in this account. I'm going to pay around $550,000, $600,000 in taxes just by leaving it where it's at.
Yes. Yeah.
But on the flip side, the plan will say, all right, you owe $160 today, or even less than that, $100 today. And then all of that money is tax-free after that.
Right, right. And I know, so this 4-page report that folks get emailed to them completely free, to your point, we've talked about using kwealthtaxtest.com before on the show, and you have been flooded with responses.
Flooded.
Folks get this complimentary report. They're printing it off. They're looking at it and going, help me get away from the government's tax plan for me and move it over to this side of the equation so that you don't have to pay any more than you're legally required to pay in taxes. So talk about the solution. How is it that when someone comes in with that report, you're able to help them leave the government's plan for them behind and move over to a better deal?
Okay, yeah, I'll give you an example of a gentleman that just came in last week, did the tax test like Tyler just walked us through here, and we're going to talk about math right now. We're real numbers guys. And so he came in, he's 65, has $500,000 saved in his IRA, and he doesn't need it right now. And so his plan was to defer it to age 73, which at age 73, that's when the IRS makes you start taking money out of your retirement plans. They're called required minimum distributions. So that was his plan. Hey, I don't need the money now. I'm going to take it out 8 years from now when I'm age 73. So I projected it out for him at a 7% annual growth rate. That $500,000 in 8 years was going to be approximately $1 million. Okay, then that's kind of when the fun starts. He's going to have to take out $40,000 a year out of that IRA at age 73. They make him take that out.
Yep, whether he needs it or not, right?
Whether he needs it or not.
Yep.
And that's all taxable. Okay. And so by age 90, I showed him where he's going to pay about $264,000. If he changes nothing, he's going to pay $264,000 in taxes if he lived to age 90, okay, on that account. And then we're not done. If he passed away at age 90, there's still going to be $1 million left in that IRA that is going to flow down to his kids.
Right, because it will have continued to grow this whole time, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And his kids are going to have to pay taxes on that, and they're probably going to be in their highest earning years. And so calculated another 30% of that is going to be lost to taxes. So the tax calculator showed him where Tyler kind of alluded to it earlier, is on a $500,000 IRA, he was actually going to pay $564,000 in taxes, so more than the account is worth just in taxes if he passed away at age 90. So, and these are things that his CPA wasn't talking to him about, his current advisor wasn't talking to him about. This is the IRS's plan
Yeah.
if you do nothing. So what's the solution? What's our plan? Through some strategic tax planning, we were able to show him a plan where we're going to convert to a Roth IRA. For those of you that don't know out there, Roth IRAs are the tax-free IRAs. And so we're going to show him how over a period of years convert $78,000 a year into a Roth IRA. By the time he hits age 73, we're going to have all of that IRA, but it's going to be in a Roth and it's going to be tax-free on that same $1 million that he's going to have at age 73. So all the money he takes out will be tax-free, and what he leaves to his kids is tax-free. So he's going to pay a total of about $150,000 in taxes versus $564. And so we always ask kind of people, hey, what would you rather pay, $150 or $564? And he kind of looked at it, and we get this reaction a lot.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't I do this?
The numbers just make sense.
Right. Yes.
Sometimes the numbers speak for themselves. And like we said, we are numbers guys, detail oriented.
Yep.
When the numbers speak, you have to listen.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and when you pose that question, I'm looking at it and in that example going, I'd rather pay the $150 all day, every day, and twice on Sunday than paying $564,000 of tax on the same bucket of money, right?
Exactly. It's a no-brainer, but
Yep.
most people don't know that there's this
Exactly.
Roth conversion option available.
Yes, and so I want to get into more about that when we come back. But what would you say to someone who's watching, maybe they've gone to kwealthtaxtest.com during the show, they're currently being blown away and going, I had no idea about this potential tax bill for the rest of my life. What would your encouragement be to them?
Yeah, definitely call us. Let us, if you want to run the numbers yourself on kwealthtaxtest.com, do it. Or come in, let us run the numbers for you and have that conversation. It's like we tell people, taxes are a guaranteed loss, that everyone that has money in tax-deferred accounts is going to have to pay the piper at some point. So again, we're not saying you don't have to pay the taxes, but there's smarter ways to do it, and there's strategies to pay less to the IRS.
For sure. Well, I'm excited for more folks to get to connect with you guys as a result of today's show. So Shawn, Tyler, thank you. We encourage you, maybe you've gone to that site, you've gotten that report. If not, we encourage you to see the numbers for yourself. But the real way the team of Kiehne Wealth is going to be able to help and serve you is by you coming in and receiving your very own complimentary written financial plan. To claim yours, simply call 877-697-6236. Or again, if you'd rather connect online, simply scan that QR code and that will get you connected as well. We'll be back with more right after this.
My first name's Tyler, my last name is Kiehne, and I'm a financial consultant here at Kiehne Wealth. I played football, so I'm a very competitive person, and I see the market in the same type of way. It always just piqued my interest as the big game, you know, and also just seeing the amount of people that my dad has helped and being able to do both helping people and also the financial space is just, it's a perfect mix for me. Because I love the finance world, I love the stock market. I think a lot of people appreciate working with the father and son because they know that this is a family business. I'm really excited for just the expansion, the new horizons that we're getting to see. I mean, we're taking this to whole new heights that it's never been to before. And with that, we get to help a lot more people and do a lot more of what we like to do.
Welcome back to Wealthy Living New Mexico. I'm Kristen Oakley here with Shawn and Tyler from Kiehne Wealth, and today we have been addressing this important question about contributing to your tax-deferred accounts. Those traditional IRAs, those traditional 401ks, which come with a hefty tax bill that's due in your retirement. So what are ways that you can help remove the government from your hard-earned money? Well, we mentioned it earlier, you guys love to work with your clients in engaging in strategic tax planning. Roth conversions are a way that you can often help people move their money from taxed always to taxed never again. So Shawn, walk our viewers through what does it mean to engage in Roth conversions?
Okay, so let's look at the math on it. So for easy numbers, if someone had $1 million in a 401k, an IRA, a Roth conversion would simply mean looking at your tax bracket. Say you're in a 22% tax bracket, you're essentially paying Uncle Sam sooner than later because you're going to have to pay it anyway.
Right.
So it's basically like I had a client tell me, so you mean I can pay Uncle Sam a check now and never have to deal with him again? Yes, that's what a Roth conversion is. Okay, so it's simply, let's say on that $1 million, if you owed $200,000 in taxes, you get those out of the way, sometimes all at once, but sometimes over a period of few years, so we don't bump you into a higher tax bracket.
Right, you want to be systematic and strategic about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you essentially give the 200,000, give him what's his, Uncle Sam's the 200,000, then you're left with 800,000. But now that's a Roth IRA, not a traditional IRA. We converted it to a Roth so that all the growth from forever on that account is tax-free. The distributions are tax-free. You don't have RMDs anymore at age 73 where they're making you take out money. If you don't need it, you don't have to take it out. And you pass it on to your kids tax-free as well, your beneficiaries.
And this is really great news for folks who are watching who maybe throughout their lives have earned too much to contribute to a Roth, but there are no income limits on Roth conversion. So that's important for our viewers to know as well. And Tyler, I know we only have a minute and a half left today, but explain why this Roth conversion conversation is time sensitive and why folks want to go ahead and take action on this.
Right, it's time sensitive because taxes are low right now. And the question we always ask people is, how is it that the millionaires and the billionaires out there can pay 4-7% in taxes and we're out here paying 30%, 24%, you know what I mean? How is that possible? The answer is because they have advisors and they take advice from people who know the rules and the tools to win the game. And what we say is that you have access to the same advice that they do. So why are you still paying 24%? 37%, whatever your tax rate is, why are you still doing that if you have access to the same advice, right? It makes no sense. It's just like the numbers. You have to know when to listen to them, and this is one of those situations.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you guys have brought up a lot of great points today, and no doubt a lot of folks are going to be blessed to be able to come in, sit down with you, have your own situation looked at, and see how you can potentially reduce your tax bill throughout the rest of your life. You don't have to go this alone, but you do need to reach out and schedule your meeting to receive your complimentary written financial plan. You can do so by calling 877-697-6236. We love you, New Mexico. Be safe, be happy, be blessed. We'll see you next time here on Wealthy Living.